Hi, it's Laura
and Michelle
from Empowered Decision. Today what we wanted to talk about is about the sales process. So we have people come to us either for when they're starting their own business and therefore obviously need to start selling their products or services, or when we're looking at people who are transitioning into more of a leadership, business development, some kind of role where they need to bring in business, and just how uncomfortable a lot of people feel about that.
That's amazing. I think that when you talk to people and they realize that they're going into that sales mode, they get so nervous because they go, I don't want to be salesy and I don't want to sound like a cheesy salesman. And I think when they're in that space and when they're in that mindset, it's like they feel this process is so overwhelming that they need to go in there and just that's all it's going to be about, and it's not that. And I think so often when you just calm them down and you just explain to them what sales is really all about, then they get the perspective and they start seeing, okay, so it's literally a process. It's not something that I'm aiming for in every conversation that I'm having. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think, I mean, my experience from you having trained me is how you break that down into elements. Just tell us a bit more about the concept of selling.
I think for me, and a lot of people have changed the word of selling because they feel uncomfortable with it and they feel that, you know, that they would rather call it something else because then they think that their mindset's going to be different about it. So they feel if they say, I serve or I represent something or I present something, that they feel better about it. But I think the whole process really starts with just being really confident about what it is that you want to say, and then get a sequence of that conversation. I think people, when they go to network events, for example, or when they feel that they are in situations where they need to tell people about their product, or when you are doing business development, they feel they need to rush through quickly and get to that close of it. And I think that if they just have a calmness about it and say, how do I present an opportunity? How do I solve a problem? Because that's ultimately what it is. Because you can't force somebody to buy something. You can't make them make the decision. And then the other things about, but I'm manipulating people's minds, and all of that comes in. And all it really is just to get your head around that whole thing, that at the end of the day, what you are doing is you are presenting an opportunity, a solution, a product, or something, and the worst case scenario is people turn around and say no thanks. So I think the crux about learning how to sell is just to get a really strong sequence of your conversation. And some people call it a pitch, and I think a pitch sometimes is quite strong and quite short. But I think it's just that share with people, and the more they feel you're passionate about what it is that they're saying, it's actually that sells it more than anything. It's just to really feel confident and proud and good about what it is that you're doing, and not have those little demons at the back of your head, and just present it. I think
it's ironic, isn't it, that often because people are so worried about that going for the sort of close, then they get to that too quickly.
And that they think that if they don't close it, then they haven't been successful. And it's very often, you know, selling is a lot of the time people coming back to you, people knowing about you. It's positioning yourself front of mind, and it's that connection with them constantly so that they don't forget about you. And when they need you, they'll come. And when they hear in conversations that people are looking for your product, your service, or whatever, then they will come to you because you're there. And I think it's just about just really just putting it out there all the time, because the more you practice it, and you get to a point really where you nail what you want to say, you nail that presentation, and that you present to everybody. But the starting point is to say, do you know what, I'm transacting? Correct, it can be the same sequence. But the starting point is I'm transacting, and I am going to charge a fee or money for my service or my product. And that's the part that I think people also shy away from. They shy away from that whole, do I bring it up? Don't I bring it up? And it's just not necessary. I think.
And actually, it's a normal. Everyone expects that if you get a product or service, you're going to pay for it.
100%. And so I think it's just those subtleties that you know, when people get used to the idea of I'm presenting something that has value to somebody, and if that person understands the value, it's always about that. They won't buy your product unless there's something in it for them. And I think when you get to that comfort zone to say, it's not me pushing, it's them pulling, in a way, I think then that settles it a lot. But it's a skill, Laura, you know, like anything everything we do. It's something that.
But there's definitely a perception that people, it's like you're naturally good at it or you're not.
Yeah. Which I disagree with. I don't think I was a natural salesperson. I think I developed into a role where I started becoming more comfortable because these concepts started making sense to me.
And it's actually being able to talk about those thoughts in the back of your head, and I think that's the thing that we find is you can do a training program that gives you the theory, but it's actually those niggly questions, isn't it, of being able to explore that and come to a conclusion on those issues.
100%. Yeah, and again, I think just that sequencing of it, just getting it really clear in your mind, just understand how you want to approach it, just gives you that calmness also, just to take it out there and be, just be positive about the process. I think it's so much your mind.
Yeah.
It's all the time. I think sales has got so much to do with what's going on here versus the conversation that you're having with somebody else.
Yeah. Some great thoughts. Thanks.
Great thoughts. Thank you.